Hello, my name is Maggie Murphy, and this is the project that I've been working on alongside David Condon in the PyLab for this past year. So with the increasing proportion of social science research being conducted online comes the changing of traditional recruitment methods. Crowdsourcing sites such as Amazon's MTurk is one of the current methods of recruiting participants for online social science research. Participants who take surveys uploaded onto MTurk, called MTurkers, are compensated for their participation. This compensation varies, with the lowest allotment being 1 cent. So it begs the question, is the amount of money compensated going to change the validity of participants' responses? Professor David Condon and I wanted to examine the relationship between MTurk workers' responses versus the amount of compensation received. Participants were asked via an MTurk hit to complete a survey with the following: an 81-item SAPA personality inventory, a 10-item promised global health measure, and the 17-item comprehensive health survey. Once finished, the MTurkers were given a code that they can then input to receive their payment. Our original plan was to conduct 3 surveys total: one that compensated workers at a rate equal to the U.S. federal minimum wage, one paying minimum wage plus 25%, and a third paying 25% less than minimum wage plus an unannounced bonus of up to minimum wage after the work was completed. Unfortunately, the third and final stage of data collection was altered due to challenges caused by the COVID pandemic, so only 2 samples were compared in this analysis. The responses were analyzed by the following factors: the time spent completing the survey, inter-item correlations, and evidence of patterned responding. In our analysis, we found that a majority of participants answered the item that determined whether or not participants were paying attention to the survey. For inter-item correlations, we had expected that, due to the highly similar items, at least 1 or 2 differences would be seen in participant responses. Instead, 4 were found, suggesting that there was slightly more variable responding than expected in the lower wage sample. The time spent on the survey varied widely, but a t-test determined that the time the participants took to complete the survey was not statistically significant or different across the samples. On a representation of physical and mental health, no statistical significance was found with the participants' health and the quality of the data. However, it is interesting to mention the results found in Figure 3. The mean mental health score in both samples were 1/3 of a standard deviation from the national norm. This figure demonstrates that the MTurk workers have below average mental health scores on items asking about depression and anxiety. While there was a slight difference in inattentive responses and consistency of responses, the data presented is not statistically significant enough to state that compensation affects the quality of the data collected. It is with these results that we conclude compensation does not highly impact the validity of participant responses based on our study design, though it does not rule the possibility that other study designs may have found an effect of compensation. There may have been a difference, for example, if the difference in compensation between groups had been more than 25%. Our findings in this research will benefit the discussion of crowdsourcing sites in terms of their validity of retrieving quality data. Future research would benefit this discussion further, suggesting the recreation of this study across differing crowdsourcing sites.